Well, good evening, everybody, Presidents-elect especially. I'm Dennis Spur, and I'm delighted to be the event chairman and to welcome you to the first South West and Southern Wales Multi-District Presidents-elect Training Seminar. We've got 4 districts participating, as you've just seen in that video that we've come across there, and that's the second cluster event of the year. Multi-district PEDs is a real bonus outcome of the new cluster model. And we promise you speakers and discussions that you would previously not had the opportunity to share in normal times. Before we hear from the first speaker this evening, it falls to me to cover some housekeeping rules that apply for the duration of this event. Are you home alone? If so, then please leave the number and name of a contact in your chat or in the chat so that we can make contacts with someone if someone is taken ill. It has sadly happened in the past, not this year to my knowledge, but we don't want someone collapsing without being help at hand. Your screen name, please use the 3 little dots at the top right hand corner of your own video image to select the rename option and make sure that you've got your name correctly on the screen there, plus your club name. Quite often we see things like someone's iPad or someone's video. We really need to have a little bit more information. As far as question asking is concerned through the weekend, then we do have a number of special speakers that will give us the opportunity to ask questions. One of the team will be titled Questions. And I would ask you please to send any questions for the speaker at that time via the personal chat to the user that is identified as Questions, and in the short term it's otherwise known as Chris Davies, and she will gather those questions and then ask them on your behalf at the appropriate time, gathering similar questions together and so forth. Raised hands will be ignored because it's just too difficult to manage. We're already up to 142 in the room, and it's still growing, so that's fantastic. Breakouts. Zoom offers us the chance to meet in breakout rooms, and soon each president-elect will be transferred as if by magic to a room where a facilitator will be there to lead you through the discussion of the day or the moment, whichever that happens to be. Groups will be around 15 at the maximum, I suspect, which means that we'll be able to see all of the group on the screen at the same time when you're in gallery view, and open conversation will be available there. So please make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity to participate, share your thoughts. Allocation to the rooms will be at random, so expect to be with different people each day, which is exactly what the multi-district experience is about. If while in breakout rooms you need help, you'll see an additional option appear at the bottom of the screen that says ask for help. So if the facilitator, for example, needs a question answered or something special, click the ask for help, and one of the technical team will come and join you to see if we can help sort things out. There may be visiting observers in the room. They are there to listen and learn for future events, but I would ask them to remain as observers unless invited to offer input by the facilitators. Okay, so you are there to observe, not to participate in this particular case. The facilitators will explain the hands up features if required within the room to attract attention and lead you through the discussions. So that's it, that's the housekeeping bit done. We're into the event now proper. So I'm now delighted to introduce District Governor-elect Wayne Morgan, who's going to welcome you to the event this evening and explain what's going to happen tonight, and then introduce our first speaker. So Wayne, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Good evening and hello, my fellow Rotarians, and welcome to this, our first multi-district PEDs training. I hope that you will enjoy this exciting program that the team have put together for you. There are 2 sessions this evening, planning your year, and at the end of this session, you will be able to reflect on how your club fits within the Rotary vision statement, sets goals for your club in relation to the Rotary strategy, and involve your club members in goal setting. The next session will be running your club. And at the end of that session, you will be able to articulate your personal goals for managing the club, have a strategy for ensuring good stewardship of club funds, and have a strategy for one area of your club operation that you would like to improve. So that's our evening sessions, and they will be conducted, as Dennis said, in the breakout rooms shortly. But before then, it's my delightful opportunity to introduce to you Lisa Hunter, who will be talking to us this evening about playing a leading role in our community. Playing a leading role in our community. So over to Lisa.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you this evening. I just think, firstly, it's amazing that we can now do this over Zoom. It's an absolutely amazing achievement, and thank you very much for letting me speak to you this evening. So just to introduce myself, as I said, I'm Lisa Hunter. I'm from Maidenhead Bridge Rotary Club, and I'm sure most of you have probably already heard about Maidenhead Bridge Rotary Club. But here's just a quick recap. We were formed in 2012, so we're actually coming up to our 10-year anniversary, and the brilliant news is that we now have 55 members from all walks of life, and we've got our fingers and toes crossed and hoping to reach 60 members by the end of this Rotary year. Our club is designed around the limited spare time and lower budgets of 30+ young professionals and people with young families. Club meetings are held twice a month rather than weekly. We also meet on a Sunday morning, making the club accessible to families and those who live in the area, perhaps commute long distances during the week or can't make lunch and evening meetings. Meeting twice a month allows members to establish firm friendships within the club, but they don't take up too much spare time, and importantly, are low cost. We meet in a coffee shop, as this fits with the style of our Rotary Club. And the meetings themselves are very informal. No toasts, no grace, and you won't see any jackets and ties. We don't have meals at our meetings, but members can order food if they choose to. We welcome children to our meetings so that Rotary is accessible to young families. My little girl, who's now 10 years old, has been to every single meeting and event since she was born. She even has her own club t-shirt that says Future Rotarian at work on it. We now have a total of 8 children under the age of 9 regularly attending our meetings and events. When we formed our club, we wanted to reach out to a completely different set of people, one that wasn't currently being reached by an existing Rotary Club in Maidenhead. But importantly, we wanted to work with the current clubs to ensure that we complemented each other. And whilst we may have different styles and how we run our clubs, the one thing that shines through, and it's what we have in common with Rotary all over the world, is that we care about our local, national and international communities, and we give up our time to make the world a better place for future generations. Our club is very much a project-focused club. Right from day one, we agreed that we didn't want committees. We felt that they weren't agile enough to change quickly to constantly shifting goalposts and community needs. Being project-focused gives us the flexibility to run the club how we see fit. Members can help on just one project or a whole number of them across the boundaries and across those traditional committees that the committee boundaries normally give. So you can help on a community project and an international project in the same year, which something isn't really possible if you're put into the international committee, for example. We find that the more members get involved in projects is that they know that it's a short-term commitment. So for example, our reindeer racing event that we do in December pretty much only needs involvement from the end of October to December. So it's a very short time window that they have to give up in order to help the club. It means that people working or with family commitments can kind of pick and choose the projects they're most passionate about and focus on it without having to make sure they commit for an entire 12 months. It also gives members the opportunity to follow their passions. If they identify a need that we're not currently working on, they can put it forward to the club and we can really get behind it. No need for committee approval, It's quick and keeps members engaged with Rotary. If you've heard me talk before, you'll know that our club is very much a hands-on Rotary club, focusing on community needs and how we can get our sleeves rolled up to make a difference, rather than raising thousands of pounds for charity. We're keen to be seen doing things, showing Rotarians in action and shouting about it at the same time. This fits with the fact that our members do not have large amounts of disposable income, so find it much easier to donate their time rather than hand over cash to charity. Having said that, we do obviously run some fundraising events, but these are low-key, low-cost events aimed at getting money out of the general public rather than asking our members for it. After all, it's another great way to get the name of Rotary out to a wider audience. As you can see from the slide, these are just some of the projects that we're involved with, from international aid and education to environmental causes, and on the ground in our community doing hands-on service. Now, obviously, the last 2 years of Rotary have been different for all of us and challenging for many, but it was also an opportunity to show Rotary and what we do best, helping others. So just before that first lockdown, pretty much 2 years to the date, our club leapt into action, and with the support from the other 2 Rotary clubs in Maidenhead, we launched the Rotary Volunteer Response Project. As I said, we launched on the 15th of March, which included getting a website up, dedicated email address set up. We sent out press releases far and wide, put posters up around town, and jumped on all forms of social media to share what we were doing and supporting our community. Like many out there, we offered shopping and prescription collection for those who were having to isolate and shield. We also offered dog walking. We realised that quite a few local residents couldn't take their dogs out for walks, so we jumped at the chance. Personally, I've always wanted a dog, so to be able to walk one vicariously through someone else for 2 years was an amazing experience. And of course, we offered befriending services as well. That weekly phone call just to check in and make sure that everything was okay, someone for someone to chat to. Never in our wildest dreams did we think how successful this project would be. We actually ended up supporting over 150 households with errands and did that with a total of 120 volunteers, not just Rotarians, but local community members who came forward to help. In the 2 years, we ran over 3,800 errands and gave more than 6,500 hours in volunteering, which if you use the minimum wage, is equivalent to just shy of £60,000 given in volunteering. We even featured on the BBC One programme called Ross Kemp's Volunteer Army. It was fantastic to be able to represent Rotary nationally and to show just what an amazing organisation it is. Plus, my daughter was thrilled to have the cameraman crew and Ross Kemp in our back garden, and she laughed her socks off quite literally when she saw Ross Kemp trying to pack our food parcels, putting the bread on the bottom and the milk on the top. It was hilarious, and she told him off and told him he wasn't doing it right, which was just a lovely part from our perspective during lockdown. On top of doing the volunteer response, we also did food parcels. Again, quickly recognising that quite a lot of children suddenly didn't have access to free school meals. So we ended up supporting 23 families with weekly food parcels, all of whom were referred to us by the schools or local charities. For a total of 42 weeks, I went to Lidl and did the mammoth food shop, filling my car to the point where I couldn't see out the rearview mirror, and then transforming my home into a mini supermarket. At this point, Chloe got involved too, to help create all the food parcels ready for collection by a team of 5 delivery drivers. Over that period, we delivered more than 1,000 food parcels to families who otherwise would have gone without. To bring a bit of fun to the project, we also included special treats, such as Easter eggs at Easter, Christmas presents and sweet treats for the festive season, a pumpkin to carve at Halloween, pizza making kits and special baking kits that included the recipe card and all the ingredients needed to make it. That last element of our support over the last couple of years has also included winter support grants to help struggling families pay their heating bills and giving them the tools, support and information to manage their household bills better to reduce ongoing costs in the future. As I said, never in our wildest dreams did we think the project would become as big as it did, and sadly that it was so very much needed by many locals struggling to get the support from other areas. But my word, it was so rewarding to be there to help people when they really needed it. And it's a project that our club is immensely proud of. One thing this project did enable us to do was showcase Rotary and provide volunteer opportunities to a wider audience. As already mentioned, we successfully recruited 120 people to help with errand running and subsequently volunteering at the vaccination centres. Out of the 120, we successfully recruited 10 new members to our club and have an army of friends that we can call upon to help with our projects. This, if nothing else, proves that people do want to get involved and make a difference. We, that is Rotary, simply need to adapt and give them what they're looking for, flexibility. When we looked at what potential and current members of both Rotary and Rotaract value most, some interesting trends appear. Both list participating in service projects to positively impact my local community as the opportunity that they value most. But potential members, and younger professionals in particular, also want to make a change globally and foster their careers through professional development and networking. Current members, however, value community service, friendship, and connecting with people outside of work and their social circle of friends. So even when both groups cite making a positive impact through service as their top reason for joining or staying, they each have different motivations. Our research shows that prospective members are also looking for opportunities to grow personally and professionally. And what's brilliant is Rotary and Rotaract offers them precisely that. You don't have to offer formal professional development strategy for members to achieve their goals. Every single service project or event you hold is a chance for someone to lead and grow. Members can obviously also take online courses through Rotary's Learning Centre or leverage our alliance with Toastmasters to provide your members with additional growth opportunities. I would also say the key thing that we've learned over the last 10 years is persistence. You won't always get it right the first time, but don't let that put you off or stop you. Simply review what did work and what went wrong and take it from there. And don't worry about negative comments or people saying you can't do that. There aren't that many rules in Rotary that stop you from doing what you want to do. The other key thing we've learned is the need to continually review what we're doing to ensure that it's still relevant to both our members, potential members, and the community around us. The world changes so quickly these days, and as a Rotary Club, we need to adapt to those changes to ensure we're still representing everyone we work with. We need to apply the same practices from our professional lives to Rotary when we're looking at membership recruitment and marketing. We need to think of potential members as customers and ensure we're giving them what they want. Our customers are looking to Rotary for the following things: connections. They want to expand their contacts both professionally and personally. They're looking for action. They want to get involved in local community issues, making a difference to those around them and providing support in a hands-on way. They want to exchange ideas. They want to learn from others, share their skills and passions, and expand their horizons. And they want to work and learn from leaders, people who see a problem and do something about it. They also want to learn how to become leaders themselves. The number one criteria Rotary clubs have to be able to answer and fulfill is Rotary worth my time? Just think about that one question for a moment. Is Rotary worth your time? Hopefully the answer to that question is yes. However, if it's not, why not? Think about the Rotary experience in your own Rotary club, from that initial contact with a potential member through to becoming a member. Let's walk through that process now. Step 1, the ask. Let's invite Mary Smith, the owner of a local stationery store, to a club meeting. Then comes the elevator pitch, when Mary asks, what's Rotary? Do you dive into the, we're 1.2 million men and women in over 200 countries and geographic areas with 34,000 clubs globally, We carry out humanitarian projects like Polio Plus, our flagship programme. Does that match with what our customers want? Does it tell the two key points the survey identified, friendship and local action? So what should we be saying instead? Perhaps something like, we're a leadership organisation of local businesses and professionals and civic leaders. We meet regularly to get to know each other, form friendships, and through that, we're able to get things done in our community. Step 3. Mary does a little research before attending a Rotary meeting. She goes to your club website and Facebook page. Do they reflect what you just told Mary? What is your club's first impression? Does it show friends taking action locally, or does it show inaction, dinners, and cheque presentations? Are you telling Rotary's true story to the public? The next step. Mary decides to visit your Rotary Club. What's her experience? Is someone there to greet her and make her feel welcome? Is your meeting overly formal, toasts and graces and reciting the 4-way test? What impression do you think that gives to Mary? Is it a world full of what can seem like a foreign language at times, particularly to the uninitiated with all the acronyms that we use? Step 5, the follow-up. Who in your club follows up with Mary after her first meeting? Do they ask her how she felt? If she has any questions about what she saw? Do they remind her of the values of being a member, forming friendships and getting things done in our community? Step 6, joining your club. Mary decides that she wants to join your club. How do you ensure you keep her as a member for the future? Retention is something that we need to be mindful of in Rotary. Lots of people join a club full of enthusiasm and excitement, keen to get involved and make new connections. However, we need to ensure that happens. We need to ensure we fulfil the promises made to Mary when she joined the club. And there are 4 keys to membership and retention, which are personal induction. How do you make Mary feel welcome at her induction and ensure she learns about Rotary in those initial few months of being a member? Perhaps you assign her a mentor to take her through it all. Skills and passion. It's important that we take the time to get to know each other as individual members. Chat to Mary to find out what skills she has that she can use on a project. What are her passions? Is she excited about environmental projects, healthcare, or supporting young people? By finding out this information, you can match her passions to one of your projects, or even start a new one. Engagement. One reason Mary joined Rotary is because she wanted to give back to her community. So let's make that happen by asking Mary to get involved in your next project. Match her skills and passions to something she can really get her teeth into, a project where she feels she can add value. And finally, being in the know. Does your club have a mentoring programme for new members? Do you partner new members with experienced ones to help explain how things work and the opportunities available to Mary? Rotary is a massive organisation and it can be really, really confusing, particularly all the different levels, clubs, districts, RGBI, RI, conferences, workshops, voting, Rotary Foundation, the list goes on. Help educate your members so that they don't feel lost or out of their depth. Personally, I see now as the ideal time for us to work hard and grow Rotary. The outpouring of community spirit was phenomenal. People up and down the country stepped up to help thousands of people in isolation over the last 2 years. They volunteered at their local food banks, in some cases starting new ones so children wouldn't go hungry. Now is the time for Rotary to capitalise on this newfound volunteer army. We're part of the #1 worldwide organisation, so why do we hide that fact? Be brazen when promoting Rotary. Tell people you need them and want them. If we are indeed leaders who take action, live up to that mantra. So how can you achieve this? Use every online resource open to you. Have engaging social media channels that openly call for new members. Even consider doing paid-for adverts saying that you're looking for new people to join. Consider organising networking events. Invite community groups, friends, business contacts to a networking night that celebrates local volunteers. Use it at the same time as an opportunity to sell Rotary whilst you have a captive audience. Be seen. Get out into your community and do good, and then shout about it. Show Rotary in action, the fun we have and the difference we make. I'm often laughed at in my Rotary Club because if someone shows the slightest bit of interest in Rotary, I make sure I get their contact details, and that's simply so they can't escape. I will keep them informed of what we're doing, send them our latest newsletters and invite them along to events. And they either have to turn up and get involved or tell me to leave them alone. It sounds funny, but it really does work. We've had people on our potential members list for 3 years, and it's taken them that long to be in the right place from a work or family point of view before they've got involved. So it's really worth keeping that list going and contacting people on a regular basis. But my number one piece of advice is be enthusiastic and don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. Rotary must adapt to modern living in order to survive. Now, I'm not saying there's no place for traditional clubs. That couldn't be further from the truth. There's a place for all clubs to exist together. But don't try and force new members to join these clubs. Take the time to find out what they want from Rotary and form a club with that vision. It's the reason why Maidenhead Bridge Rotary was formed and still exists today. I wasn't going to let anyone tell me no. Rotary was, and very much still is, part of my family life, and I honestly don't know what we'd do without it. To prove this point, I asked my daughter, Chloe, who is now 10, as I mentioned earlier, what she liked about Rotary, and this is what she said. I like everything about Rotary, especially all the events. I really enjoy Easter Family Fun Day because it's lots of fun going on an egg hunt, and of course there's chocolate. It also brings the community together. I want to save the planet, so I asked our club if we could go on litter picks. So far we've done 6 of them and collected up lots of rubbish. It's been nice to make friends with other children. We get to play at club meetings. During the pandemic, I helped my mum make up the food parcels for families who couldn't afford to feed themselves. It was good to help others, and I hope they pass that act of kindness on. I would describe Rotary in the following 3 words: amazing, fantastic, and enjoyable. I think for us as a family, what Chloe has just shared with you is so very important. We want her to learn kindness and compassion and the importance of community and helping others. Through Rotary, she sees firsthand the impact that she's able to give to change lives, not just in Maidenhead, but around the world. Wouldn't it be great if you and your Rotary Club could give that same vision and opportunity to other families and young people in your town? In fact, I challenge each and every one of you here today to bring 1 new person into Rotary in the next 6 months. Be that your own club, one in the town next over, or even a different part of the country. If we all bring in 1 new person to our amazing organisation, just imagine the difference we could make to the countless lives and communities in which we serve. So I ask you, will you take on that challenge? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that very interesting and thought-provoking way of looking at Rotary working in our community. Time is moving on, and I need to now hand over to Dennis to explain the breakout rooms to us, please. Dennis.
Thank you very much. Oh, Lisa, that was wonderful. We've heard you talk before, and that leads in so nicely to the next discussions that we're going to have. And we're going now into our first discussion breakout on the subject of planning your year. What a better way of taking some of the ideas that Lisa's given you there into that discussion. So as a new president-elect or as a repeat offender, and some of us are, of course, it's really an important topic. So now we're going to switch for the next 40 minutes into the facilitator-led discussions. On our return, we'll take a 10-minute break. But if I can now ask the support team press the buttons. Hold on to your hats, folks. It's quite painless. You'll be in your breakout room in a few moments. Okay, so yes, I just heard gentlemen talking about, he'd heard lots of things about Rotary and other things. Well, hopefully those will come up in topics as we go through the weekend. But that was a really interesting discussion we had in the group I was with, and I hope you did too. So we're going to take a 10-minute break now. So chance to grab a cup of tea, coffee, glass of wine, gin and tonic, whatever your tipple is at this time of the evening. It is 20 to 8, so yeah, it's past the yard arm. So do fill your glass, and there'll be a countdown timer now running, and back in 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Well, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back promptly. We've still got a good number in the room, ready to move on to the next topic. And I hope you've replenished your glass. So we've got one more little discussion breakout to go into this evening. And then coming back from that, Wayne will do a brief summary before we just give you the information necessary for tomorrow morning. So with that, we're going to move into our breakout rooms again, because the next topic that we're going to talk about is running your club. We've talked about planning your club when talking mostly about goals, I suspect, in your discussions about the sort of things you want to achieve. Well, how are we going to do that? And are you going to have the best structures in place to be able to do so within your club? So tech support, if we can go back into our breakouts. Maybe random, it may be the same group, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. So let's see what happens when Wendy presses the button. Thank you very much. I'd invite Wayne now, please, just to reflect and wrap up this session, and then I'll do the bit about tomorrow.
Thank you, Dennis. And thank you all very much for attending the training session this evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed being in the breakout group that I was in and listening to people talking about their clubs and their goals and aspirations, and identifying their footprint within their communities. And, you know, I'd like you to consider, as presidents, you're in a unique position to strengthen relationships, discover and celebrate your club's diverse perspectives, and apply your members' professional expertise and experience to improve communities at home and around the world. The session will have included Rotary's guiding principles, giving members a common purpose and direction, serving as a foundation for our relationship with one another and for the action that we take in the world and in our communities. So we hope that you have enjoyed it and are looking forward to our session tomorrow. Thank you again, and I'll hand over to Dennis.
Thanks very much indeed, Wayne. Thank you. And that's it. That's the end for today. We've got a 9 o'clock start tomorrow morning on the same link. So you don't have to go looking for a different link. You press the button back on this link into the room. And if you can make it for 8:45, get the computer going, because you'll be able to see the introduction promo videos that some of you saw today. So please do that. And so look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, and have a safe journey back to the kitchen. Thanks very much. Bye.